So checking out Monero, it looks like the downtrend has been invalidated and we're starting to head up. This is pretty much a silent mover. I mean, I haven't really heard anyone talking about this since we were back in 2018. Nonetheless, if we come over to the weekly, you can see downtrend completely been blasted through. 200-day moving average, we're back above, and we're starting to see a nice mix of volume coming in. I mean, this has been happening for almost the past month and a half, 2 months. I find it interesting. So it started rallying on the 21st of February. Where was Bitcoin back then? So 21st of February. I mean, Bitcoin was still going through some chop at this point. I mean, we came back to the lows like twice, and Monero just seemed to keep moving up. So I mean, Monero is starting to look pretty nice to me. If we look at the daily MFI and RSI, kind of building support as we go. We've got a plethora of higher lows. The volume we're seeing is really nice in my opinion. I would like to stay above the 200-day at approximately 213. 213 is probably your worst case scenario to hold because we've just hopped above the first fib here at 224. So if I round it down and also encompass the 200-day, I think that would be a reasonable level to hold. Now, from a technical perspective, we could still get thrown back to, I believe the last time we had an impulse, we came down to the 786 and held. So I'd probably have to assume, based on the last rally we've had, 786 worst case scenario. So let's mark this down here. This needs to hold, otherwise, the uptrend that we've initiated has been invalidated. So keep your eyes on about 187. Now, this is really, like I said, from a technical perspective, I personally don't see us coming back down here. We've got a nice increase in volume. We're still pushing up on the lower time frames. Having a slight cool down, which is good, allowing the momentum on the RSI and the MFI to reset itself and potentially put in a higher low above the previous lows that we put in around here. So lower time frames really starting to look good, and like I said, I mean, higher time frames, if we come over to the weekly, this has just been rallying like crazy for the past couple of weeks. Let's check out the Heikanashis. So Heikanashi's looking good, great influx of volume, lots of room to head up on both the money flow indicator and the RSI for this uptrend. So I think the last time we went on a massive rally, it doesn't seem like Monero gives a shit about the RSI and the MFI. Even when it's topped out, you can see it just kept topping and topping and topping, and we kept on just pushing higher and higher and higher. So that's like the one reason why I'm not too worried that we're heading up quite fast. I think, based on previous price action, we could just keep on smashing our head against this while we do just keep on, building higher highs and higher lows. Now, looking at this chart, I kind of do want to buy some Monero, but unfortunately where I live in the world, every single centralized exchange hates it. They've banned it, they've blocked it. So if you guys know any decentralized exchanges where you can pick up some Monero, let me know. I've never picked up Monero before. I have always liked privacy coins since back in 2018 when I really started getting into crypto. So I would potentially look to buy this, pretty much at the region we're at now. Let me know if you've got any decentralized exchanges. Show me your exchanges. Now, lower time frames, bulls are still definitely in control. They're cooling off a bit. Let's see what happened the last time we were initiating these big rallies. So you can see, I mean, the bulls cooled off a few times. We actually switched bearish while we were in the middle of this uptrend on the daily. So, I wouldn't be too worried about the squeeze, mom. The matter of the fact is, momentum is really picking up to the upside. We've got great buying volume coming in. On higher time frames, we're just having a solid push. And what I think is most important, if we come over, this chart's probably the best actually. If we delete this fib just for a second, you can see our weekly EMA ribbons. We finally flipped back to the upside of these. The short-term moving average is heading up really fast. If you don't know, for this to become a bullish flip, short-term moving average needs to cross over the long-term moving average. That is what will make this turn into a green EMA ribbon. That will fire a buy signal. And I just like to highlight, the last time we fired a weekly buy signal on Monero, we had this rally to start with for like maybe what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 solid weeks of accumulation to the upside. And I mean, you could call it 6 or 7 because this just kept on pushing. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and we're having that red candle come in. So I think anytime soon, obviously, you know, this is the EMA ribbon isn't going to correlate to what it did before. We need to see the price move up for the EMA to move up. But nonetheless, this is pushing up very fast. I think if we see a weekly flip of these EMA ribbons, I think we would be undoubtedly very, very bullish. At which point, you know, if we keep on pushing up, you could see what we did before, come back down to the short-term moving average like we did here. You know, rally, come back to the short term, here. You know, we really respect the weekly EMA ribbons from what I can tell. And it's really good to see the weekly momentum is coming in favor of the bulls. I mean, it's the first weekly candle, but nonetheless, I mean, we're only at Thursday right now, so we do have a couple more days. I'm liking what I'm seeing right now. I'm really liking what I'm seeing. I definitely want to get some Monero. Like I said, unfortunately, where I live in the world, you know, there's no exchanges that will let you buy it. It's on Binance, Crypto.com, Coinbase. When I click on them, it just says this asset's not supported, so it kind of sucks. But nonetheless, we've got to deal with what we've got to deal with. So yeah, I mean, I don't want to overcomplicate this. We've broken out of this trend line to the downside. If we get back our first fibs, like I said, we have finally crossed above the 2.36. So the next place I have my eyes on is the 382. I think a break of the 382 would just mean that this is going to have a really, really hard rally. You know, and probably explosive growth. Obviously not to the all-time high anytime soon. I would like to highlight the market cap is at 4 billion, which, you know, you can say what you want about it. It is somewhat steep, but like I do believe, you know, this can easily double. But what I'm saying is it's not going to double in the next week. Like that's all I'm saying. It can double, and it probably will double, but give it its time is what I'm saying. So once again, 382, that's my next price target, 281 from where we are now. That is another increase of 20%, another reason why I do want to accumulate some Monero right now. But if we do come over to the lower time frames, since the last impulse, so high, so no, we'll draw it from this low down here after this impulse to the most recent high. You can see once again 618, 786, very nicely down here at 187. I personally don't see us breaking below 213. I think the 200-day proved to be very strong support once we did increase from it. We back tested it again. I personally don't even see us coming down to 213, but keep your eyes on 213, and as long as we hold 187, we are good. In the shorter term, let's find our most macro high, local high. So here, you can see, okay, we're getting stuck at the 0.5 Fibonacci right now, but most importantly, we've got a 618 fib here. So let me put these on. I'll remove the fib, so you've got strong resistance here. 618 is your moon line. To be fair, I mean, this ties up really nicely. We got rid of our macro fib for some reason. If we draw this back, and your 382 is here. So I mean, we do have some strong resistance coming in. Nonetheless, I really like how the bulls have taken control of this. You can see currently we're getting stuck at the 0.5 Fibonacci. We even impulsed up to the 618 Fibonacci at 261. We never managed to put in a daily close above the 618 Fibonacci. So I'd really say the 618 fib is your moon line. Because once we break above the 618 fib, you know, I originally said this would be your moon line at the 382, but I think a break above the 618 fib would easily carry enough momentum for this to get shattered anyway. So I'm gonna, you know, I'll keep this on the screen, but nonetheless, keep your eyes on 261. From where we are now, not too far away, only an 11% move. I think that would carry so much momentum if we manage to break above it. You can see strong resistance here and here. If we push above it, I'm not saying, you know, we're going to go to the moon straight away. What I'm saying is I want to push above it, close a daily, you know, say we close a daily around here, come down, close a daily at the 618, and then start to push up. That's when I think we'd get some really, really nice volume coming in. And the bulls, well, they're already in control, but on every single time frame, they'd just be killing it. So I don't want to see a wick above here. I'm not going to buy a break above the wick and then a wick down. I want to see the 618 flipped as resistance. But like I said, I'm tempted to buy at this level. So if you know any of the centralized exchanges where you can get this from, yeah, leave it in the comments below. So I'm really liking this macro time frame. Broken above all of these key areas of support that were previously resistance. The bulls have taken control on the weekly time frame. So you know, worst case scenario, we have a fake out and we don't actually manage to break it above the 618 Fibonacci up here at 372. And that's really your worst case scenario. And I'm only saying that because, you know, previously sometimes we put in 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks of bullish momentum before we topped out. So we've only had 1 week. I do expect the next 3 weeks or the next month to be a Monero month. What is the month? It's April. If only it was Monero March, but nonetheless, I do think this is going to be Monero month. I do think in April we are going to see some great growth for Monero. So keep your eyes on that 618 Fibonacci. A breakout of 262 is your moon line. I'm really liking the setup for Monero. Bulls are definitely in control. Nice volume coming in. All time frames. I'm not even worried about the MFI. Like I said, the previous time when we were in a weekly rally, you know, we just kept smashing our heads against the top of this and growing and growing and growing. So Monero looks great. I think there's more room to grow. It's not going to go up in a straight line because of the market cap. Nonetheless, give it its time. In the next month or so, we could be seeing a very, very great rally. That's all I've got for you today for Monero. Cowboy out, not financial advice. Peace.